Hey people, Annie here. I make weapon emission sets for Fallout New Vegas, and I'm here to show you all how to do the same using Maya. So let's get started. First, we're going to need Maya, then Niscope, then ICUAI streaks and engine fixes, then the TNVC animation plugin, then the Maya 2025 nifTools plugin and animation rig. The KNVC animation plugin and ICUAI streaks are both just normal Fallout New Vegas mods. They just need to be downloaded as usual. They'll be used for changing the animations in game. The Maya plugin needs to be downloaded manually, however. Just download it wherever you want. I'll move it to a separate folder and extract that to its own folder. So once you extracted it, open it up. In later versions of the nifTools plugin, you can just double click on the nifTools install.bat file and follow the on-screen instructions to install it. Or you can, if you have any issues with that or just want to install it manually, continue watching this video. Otherwise, you can just skip ahead to the next section. Now you need to find where you have your Maya installation folder. To find that, just look up Maya, open file location, right click, open file location again. Now this is your Maya installation folder. You need to copy the bin folder here to the folder above here. Replace the files and then you need to copy the scripts folder to your documents, Maya, scripts. Just copy it. I already have it, so it's just asking me to replace it. Now, I need to install PyML. To do this, you need to open CMD, that is the command prompt, as an administrator. And you need to paste a certain command from the nifTools plugin description page, which is right here in the installation section. That's the pass to Maya pin / mayapy.exe. This whole line basically. Copy this, go into command prompt, Control V to paste. You'll see where it says path to Maya 2025. You have to replace this with your installation folder's path, that is C drive, program files, or just Maya 2025. It may be different for you, just check where you pasted the folder earlier. So navigate the cursor there with your arrow key, remove this section, press Ctrl V to paste. It should look something like this, then just press enter. It'll take a second, then the output should look something like this. Now you can close command prompt. PyML has been installed. Now you're gonna want to open up Maya and click on new to open up a new scene. Click right here to open up the script editor. You can see there's a lot of stuff already here. Just click right here to clear all, and then you're going to want to open up the folder where you extracted your nifTools Maya plugin, and you'll see there's an FNV tools.py file here. Just take this file and drag and drop it onto the empty script editor window and click on this button right here to save the script to the shelf. Give it a name. I'll name it FNV tools and click OK to save it. Once this is done, you can close this up, and now you'll see this button right here that shows up in your shelf. Now I would suggest you to right click that and click on edit and go into the shelves tab right here and removing everything from the tooltip field as well as the icon label and changing the icon by clicking on the little folder icon right beside it. You can select any icon that you want, honestly, but the nifTools plugin does come with its own icons within the nifTools Maya plugin /scripts /FNV nifTools icon folder. You can use any one of these three. I'll use this one. Now you can click on save all shelves to save it, and as you can see, it seems to be working as it should be. Once that's done, you can start setting up a base rig reference file. So you're going to want to open up the folder where you extracted your My nifTools plugin to. That's right here. And you'll see in the rig folder here, there's a multi-rig file and some textures. So what you're going to want to do is to take these, copy these into a separate folder specifically for Maya files. So I'll just paste them here. Once that's done, you want to go back to Maya and press Ctrl R to make a new reference scene. Change the file type to all files beforehand if you don't see the files, and find the multi-rig file. Click this button right here, use selected namespace as parent and add new file space, and click on reference. Cool, it's done. Then press F to focus on it. And as you can see, this is the base rig. Now you can add the textures to the meshes if you wish to do so by clicking on here to make the meshes selectable and assigning them in the attribute editor. I'm not going to do that since I just use the default material. But if you wish to do so, there will be a tutorial for that at the end of the video. For now, just click on here and set it to reference so the mesh is not selectable, since you don't really need to do that while animating. Well, first you want to save this file. Press Ctrl+Shift+S to save as, and I'll just save it as FNV rig modified. I would recommend saving it as a ASCII file. Now you'll see this is the entire body mesh and there's no camera here. So first what I'm going to do is to change layout to 3 panes with left. You can select whichever one you like, and I'll change this to the FNV multi-rig FP camera. You'll see when I switch to the camera, the view is all dark. That's normal since this is the third person mesh mode. I'll change this one to the perspective camera and select the wall door icon and change the animation mode to first person. Now this is the first person mesh, as you can see, and I'll change this one to the graphite. I'd also suggest changing the mesh type to SMIM because this has a lot better mesh like bending. As you can see here, in the SMIM mesh, the finger mesh does not get completely mangled while stretching it out. If you switch it back to the vanilla mesh, there's some kind of weird stretching going on here in some of the mesh parts. Right here too. See, it's all fucked up. So I would recommend changing it to SMIM and using that in your game too. And now I would recommend adding some stuff to the background so you have something to look at and it's not just completely empty. So I'll just do that. You can hold down the backslash key and right mouse button to zoom in into the camera. And then I will select the camera and change the FNV FOV to 70 as that's what I use in game. Now the rig setup is pretty much, actually I'll select all of these and press Ctrl+G to them to a group, and then make a new layer right here and name it Scene Geo and change the display type to reference so you don't accidentally just select it while trying to select your rig joints. So cool, this is done. Press Ctrl+S to save. Right, I forgot to mention that you should probably reset the spread right here. And I'll also set this to the default material. That's done then. Let's Ctrl+S to save again. And now you are ready to import a weapon. Well, you're ready to start rigging the weapon. So let's get on to that. To get the weapon mesh, you obviously have to extract it either from the game folder, or if you're going to animate a weapon from a mod, then you will have to find the weapon mesh within the mods files. You can just open up any mod and check right here. It should be in the meshes folder. I will use the vanilla varmint rifle as an example. So I'll open up the game folder, go into data, and open up meshes.bsa. I'll use Bethesda, BSA browser to extract it. So let's navigate to the exact folder. That would be meshes, weapons, and two-hand rifle. And let me see, that is the varmint rifle. If let's extract and extract it to this folder that I made earlier. Meshes varmint rifle. That's done. I'll close this, I'll minimize this, and now I'll hand this over to my friend Frozen.
Hello, my name is Frozen. Now I will show you how to make a weapon rig for Fallout New Vegas in Autodesk Maya. So click Import, select NetImmers format. You need to have unpacked NIF files. In my case, I will demonstrate using the varmint rifle as an example. Also make sure that you have checked import all nodes as joints and press import. The weapon is imported and appears in green for you. You can apply textures to it or use the default material, which is what I will do. So the first thing we need to do after importing is open FNV tools and click the check and fix weapon nodes button. This fixes incorrect node imports that can lead to export issues in the future. As we have seen, some things have changed. We can click again to check that everything is working fine. If you see this message, that means everything is good. The next thing we do is select all imported objects. Press the key combination Ctrl G to add them to a group. Let's rename the group. Make sure the weapon faces positive Z. That will be -90° on Y-axis for this gun and most others. Some weapons like Vanilla Missile Launcher, Fatboy, etc. have to be rotated differently depending on the vanilla orientation. Next you can create controls. I will use the plugin Rigbox for this. Let's enable X-ray display for joints, then let's create controls. The main one will be this, and this will be the magazine control. Here is the trigger control and bolt control. Now I want the pivot point of the trigger to be not here, but approximately here. To do this, I press the D key, switch to pivot editing mode, and place it where we need it. Also, I want the pivot of the bolt to be located right inside the bone. For this we need to snap the pivot. We hide the geometry using the key combination Alt-2. We press the D key and hold the V key to activate vertex snap mode. And use the mouse wheel to drag it to approximately where the bone is. As you can see, it has moved. You can turn geometry display back on with Alt-2. Let's rename our controls to the correct namings. Next we select all controls and freeze the transformations. To do this, right click on any attribute into the channel box, select freeze all. Now select all the controls again and clear the history by going into Edit, Delete by Type, History. And now select all the controls except the main one and move them under the main control. We can see everything works. They move together with it. Now let's create another group on top of this control with Ctrl G. Name it. And now we will need to parent constrain the controls to the corresponding bones. Let's start with the main control. We will need to parent constrain it to the group with geometry and joints. First select the main control, then select the group, press constrain, and apply a parent constraint while maintaining the offset. Next we do the same for the corresponding bones. After this, I usually recolor the controls for visual distinction from each other. Now let's add the group with geometry and joints into a new display layer so that it's easier for us to work with the controls. For example, if we want to select a few controls, for instance these two, we can see the bones are being selected. Or for example, I want to select this control. But as we can see, the geometry is selected along with it. That's why we will create a new visual display group. Select the group with geometry and joints, switch to the display tab here and press this button. A new layer is created. Let's rename it to the Varmint Rifle Geo. Save it and switch this third checkbox to the letter R, which means reference. We cannot select any joints or geometry as intended. Now only the controls can be selected. We can close this. Let's open FNV tools again and set up the eyes control. Press the setup eyes control key. A new locator and a new bone are created. Move this locator under the hierarchy of the group with the controls. Great. Now we can close this and save the rig as a separate Maya scene. In this case, it will be called Varmint Rifle Rig. File type shall be Maya ASCII. Save. Now open a new scene. We press the key combination Ctrl R, or in the file menu, click Create Reference. We load our character rig here. Here it is. Press Ctrl R again and load the Varmint rifle rig. We can immediately switch to first person animation mode because I will be demonstrating using it as example. What we need to do now is to select the group with joints and the geometry. Then we find this arrow on the right hand and shift click it. Now with this arrow and group selected, go to the Constraint tab, Parent, and then check the Maintain Offset box. Click Apply. As we can see, that arrow has moved. Basically, the arrow should point in the same direction as the weapon. However, for heavy weapons, it might be oriented upwards. Next, we can check that everything works by moving the main control. The arrow moves with the weapon, and that's how it should be. Now we need to select the group with controls and use it to move the weapon to the idle pose. I will enable the display of the second viewport from first person, and I will place the gun in the idle pose. It will be like this. Okay, now we need to make it so the hands moves along with the weapon. So what we do need for this? Select the hand. This is the hand control. Move the mouse on the outliner. Press F. This expands the hierarchy. We need the group located above with the hand control. In this case, here is the hand control, and this is the group we need. Now we select the main weapon control. With the Control key held, select this group and click Constraint Parent. Maintain Offset. OK. We do the same with the left hand. Now we can check. As we can see, the hands move with the weapon. We can position the hands in the pose. In this case, I won't fuse with it. I'll just set it approximately. We can move shoulders and the elbows. I will not adjust the fingers for now. That's basically it. You can animate. Now I want to show you what to do next. Bye.
Now that you've made the idle, you need somewhere to export it to. So you're going to want to make a new empty mod in MO2 and open it in Explorer. I'll name it any Varmint rifle set. Right click, open in Explorer. There it is. Now you're gonna need a working folder structure for your mod. Fastest way to get one is to just reuse someone else's. In this case, I'll be using one of Hitman's sets. So just select the files. Don't copy the meta file, but select the other files, paste, and you will see there's an invasive folder there. You don't really need to worry about that. It just fixes the firing rate of the weapon, as you can see right here. So you can just ignore that. Instead, go into the meshes folder. Inside anim group override, you'll see there are a couple folders named with the hit varmint. So I'll just rename the hit part to my name. Lovely. I'll also add an X to the start of the JSON file. This will make it override any other JSONs that exist. So I'll do the same inside the JSON too. You can use any text editor to open it up. The form IDs can be found within Xedit, and the mod EFM folder name, that's just from the vanilla game. In this case, you can use your own mods folder name and form IDs if you are doing a modded weapon. So this Control S to save, and once you're in here, you can open the first person folder and you'll see there may be a lot of files in here. Most of these are locomotion files. You can just delete these. These are rather unnecessary. Hitman used to include these in his old sets. So just remove the locomotion files first. Do that, delete, and done. Okay, cool. If you open up 2hrAIM.kf in nifscope, you'll see that first the name of the file is aim. That's the idle name of the idle action, I suppose. So expand that and open the night text key extra data. These are the text keys that you need to insert in your animation. So to do so, just press Ctrl F and search for the bookmark manager. Open that up, and on frame 0, add a bookmark named start. Hit add, and on frame 100, that's the last frame of the animation, add another bookmark, name it end, and hit add. That's that. You will see that I did not add this text key right here. This is unnecessary in modern KNVC versions. So I'll just go to hrAIM.kf and I'll save the varmint rifle idle. And you will see the bookmarks are showing up in the timeline too. Anyways, now what you're going to want to do is to export the file. How do you do that? Well, you first select expand the first person set folder in here and right click the set priority first person set and select set members, and you'll see the animation priority is set to 45. This is correct. You don't really need to change this. And alongside these, what you need to do is to also select the is control file. This one the is control bone that should be present with the weapon. So to do that, just expand the varmint rifle nif loop and control click on there is control bone. And now click on the FNV nif tools tool and click on export anim. This will bake it and open up the exporter menu. And in here, you need to scroll down and where you see the animation name. The animation name should be the same as the animation header in nifscope. That's aim right here. So just name it the exact same. And the animation target should be BIP01 by default. The game specific version and version 2 should be 11 and 34. Cycle type should be clamp. It should be loop only for third person looping animations like third person aims and such. But for first person animations, you should almost always use cycle clamp. And this is irrelevant. Our NIF version is important. Use 20.02.0.7. Now, you just need to navigate to the folder where you need to export it. I will copy it from here. Control C, Control V, and click on 2hrAIM and export. I'll replace the existing and it should be done. If you click on it, it will delete everything that's unnecessary, and you can close this up. And that's pretty much it. It has been exported now. I'll go in game to check real quick. Of course, you need to enable the mod first and refresh by pressing F5. And that should do it. As you can see right here, the idle does work. It looks horrible, obviously. I need to fix the hand, but regardless, it does work. So, I'll quit out the game now. Now, I'll show you all how to assign textures to your meshes, as I mentioned earlier. Press Ctrl R, select NetImmerse format. Navigate to the folder where you extracted your mesh to. Make sure you selected namespace as parent is selected. These should be the default settings. In case they aren't, change them to these. Click on Reference, disable joint selection and select the mesh geometry. Right-click, assign favorite material, form. Click on the two-tone icon beside the color attribute and select File. Click on the folder icon beside the image name field and navigate to the folder where you saved or extracted your textures to, and select the _D, that is the diffuse file. Open it up Change this to the texture view and click on output connection site here beside the file name. Now click on the two-tone icon beside the bump mapping attribute and select file again. Change use as to tangent space normals. Then go to the file 2 tab and click on the folder icon again beside the image name and navigate to the folder where you have extracted textures again. And this time select the _n, that is the normal map file, and open. Change the color space by clicking on utility raw. Check the ignore color space file rules tick box. Now select the geometry. Go into the polysurface shape tab into the tangent space drop down menu and change the coordinate system to left-handed. And repeat this for the other pieces of geometry. Now select the main mesh and switch to the Form 1 tab and open up the Hypershade window. Click on the input and output connections box. Select the Form 1 SD shader, click on it again. Now right click, create node and select file. Click on the folder icon and navigate to the normal map file again and open it. Now right click and create node again. This time select the plus minus average node. Expand the input 3 device choice and connect the out alpha node to the 3D X, Y, and Z values. And finally connect output 3D to the specular color. Once that's done, you can close out the Hypershade window and look at your mesh. It should be textured properly now. So that's pretty much it for this tutorial. In the next video, I'll probably be showing you how to do more animations, more specific animations like attack animations and such. You can try doing them yourself if you wish to do so by just checking the text keys in existing animation sets. So, yeah. Goodbye.